John McAfee's strangest warning turned out to be true in the darkest way imaginable. And what makes this clip even heavier is what he said next in real life.
You're not allowed to leave the hotel.
No, dude, if I had not left the hotel, you know what would happen tonight? They would have come in to get me. With no one watching at 2 o'clock in the morning for something. Trust me.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Because before everything collapsed, he posted a message that now feels impossible to ignore. If I'm ever found dead, it won't be That's what he told the world, just months before he was discovered hanging in a Spanish prison cell.
John McAfee found dead today in a prison cell in Spain.
Once that news broke, it spiraled everywhere within hours. For a man who made a fortune chasing digital viruses, to die under such great suspicion, it felt like a dark punchline to an extraordinary life. The tech genius who spent decades building defenses against unseen threats ended up falling victim to the one inside his own mind. What most people never knew was that John carried a psychological fracture long before the fame or the chaos. When he was 15, his father, an abusive alcoholic, ended his own life. Years later, John hinted that he had done something about it, a comment that stunned even the people closest to him. It was a shadow he never really escaped, and that shadow followed him into adulthood. The genius coder wasn't just battling viruses, he was battling moods and chemicals. McAfee admitted to coding for days at a time while under the influence of LSD and claiming the altered state helped him see patterns other people couldn't. But before we dive into the chaos that would later define his life, we have to go back to the beginning. In the early 1980s, John McAfee was a name whispered in every software lab across Silicon Valley. He wasn't just another ordinary participant in the dawn of the digital age. He was ahead of his time. His days at NASA, Lockheed, and Xerox gave him a front-row seat to a revolution in motion: the rise of computers and the internet.
From high technology, the computer store, introducing Apple II.
I'm Bill Gates, chairman of Microsoft.
You can expand the storage capacity of your Macintosh with an external disk.
You decide which one is more sophisticated.
But here's the twist. McAfee noticed what many didn't. As computers kept multiplying, the digital plagues infecting them multiplied too. And John was the only one who knew the solution: creating an antivirus software. McAfee Antivirus, the software that practically defined the cybersecurity industry.
After his computer was infected, he would use his programming skills to write the code for a prototype version of the McAfee antivirus software. And it took him just a day and a half to write it, and it worked.
Fast forward to 1987. After spotting the Brain boot sector virus spreading across PCs, McAfee founded McAfee Associates, one of the first companies dedicated to fighting computer viruses. And just like that, the term antivirus left the realm of tech jargon and entered everyday language. For a while, people saw him as both, the man warning about the great digital danger and the one protecting them from it. He was a digital hero, just without the cape. But of course, a genius doesn't always stay in one place.
Hello there. My name is John McAfee. I'm the founder of the McAfee antivirus software company.
By the mid-1990s, McAfee sold his share of the company for almost $100 million and told reporters that he was done with the corporate virus. However, this wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning of a much bigger and stranger one. Once John was free from boardrooms and business meetings, his life took a full 180. Away from the clean, high-tech world of Silicon Valley, he began living strangely and unpredictably. He owned big houses filled with guards and guns. John surrounded himself with girlfriends and even taught self-defense.
His have to last long. I mean, You can't give him 1 or 2 hours. He wants like morning to day. I mean, like, you have to be in that bed from morning till the next day, and if you can continue till 7 days, that's sex for him.
And this is where it gets crazier. He openly used hallucinogenic drugs and claimed that the government was spying on him. According to him, Wi-Fi signals were tracking his every move.
For me, it's like, this guy's dangerous. Now, even before he started killing people, I thought this is a guy who's wreaking havoc on people's lives.
John even created spiritual retreats that promised to cleanse electromagnetic wave poison, a strange mission against unseen threats. Over time, his interviews became more and more chaotic, showing a man who was slowly slipping away from reality. But people could never tell. Was he seeing things no one else could? Or was he just losing touch with the world? And just like that, after years of fighting invisible viruses, McAfee started to see invisible enemies everywhere. His paranoia didn't seem like a flaw anymore. Instead, it became his entire way of life.
There was always mysteries within mysteries and paranoia within paranoia. And you could never really tell what the truth was.
And that confusion didn't disappear. It followed him all the way to Belize. Later on, in 2008, John McAfee moved to Belize with another big dream: to change modern medicine by creating new antibiotics using local plants. But instead of an ordinary research lab, he built a heavily guarded compound protected by ex-soldiers. Rumors were going around about him eating breakfast surrounded by guns and running private security like a war zone. And just like that, his image shifted from a brilliant innovator to someone driven by fear and obsession.
Software company founder John McAfee says he's hiding in Belize and on the run from authorities.
In hindsight, he was living a good life, but things took a wild turn in 2012 when everything collapsed. John's neighbor was found dead from a gunshot wound, and McAfee, he was named a person of interest.
The entire 5 years I was there, I said maybe 50 words to him. He did not like my dogs, and the past 2 occasions I had seen him walking the beach, he complained, but so did everybody.
That moment marked his downfall. John went from being a tech pioneer to a fugitive. And instead of talking to the police, he dyed his hair and ran from the country through jungles and rivers. The worst part? He bizarrely shared parts of his escape online, as if it were some kind of live-action show.
How do you feel knowing that there's going to be people out there who are going to always suspect that you did it?
That's a public perception that I have no control over. I know I had no connection whatsoever with Mr. Fall's death. If someone wants to think otherwise, that's okay.
And so, John's life turned into a surreal story, marked by paranoia and mistrust. McAfee insisted the Belize government wanted him dead, the CIA was hunting him, and that even his own friends were spies. And just like that, in a strange twist of fate, the man who once protected computers from viruses now believed the whole world had become the virus, attacking him. What came next was pure chaos. McAfee went from hiding in Guatemala to resurfacing in the United States, broadcasting his life from boats sailing in international waters. He filled social media with wild claims about government plots, cryptocurrency schemes, and constant surveillance. But that didn't stop him from running for US president twice. At one point, John even promised to eat his own genitals on live TV if Bitcoin didn't reach $1 million. And honestly, that kind of describes who John was in a single sentence.
His threat as an individual was a smartphone that you carry with you everywhere. It is a spy device that monitors, watches, listens.
What initially seemed like publicity stunts turned into a desperate act of endurance. His life became a non-stop performance. It seemed like he feared what might happen if the spotlight ever went dark. However, in the end, McAfee wasn't just trapped by his reputation, he was consumed by it. His story's final turn came in 2021 when he was arrested in Spain for tax evasion. For years, he was drifting between airports, yachts, and safe houses. But behind that lavish lifestyle, his finances were falling apart. As soon as a Spanish court approved his extradition to the United States, McAfee made one last tweet. He wrote, "I am content in here. I have friends. The food is good. All is well. Know that if I hang myself, a la Epstein, it will be no fault of mine." But this is where things get even wilder. Hours later, after that tweet was made, John was found dead in his prison cell. The original report claimed that he died from by hanging himself.
The 75-year-old was found dead yesterday in a prison cell in Spain in what's been ruled as suicide. It followed a court judgment just a day earlier, which would have seen him extradited back to the U.S. on tax evasion charges, where he faced up to 30 years in prison.
But not everyone bought that story. His supporters came forward, claiming he was murdered. Meanwhile, his wife insisted that he wasn't suicidal.
It was reported that John died of self-harm.
Right.
And when they found him, that he was actually dead in his cell, but that's not true.
Andrew B. Gordon, one of Mr. McAfee's lawyers, said, "When I heard of John's impending extradition, my team was fully prepared to fight for his innocence before the United States courts. We knew he would appreciate the opportunity to share his story and put the false charges against him to rest. Only hours later, we were shocked to learn of his untimely death."
And what happened was John was actually alive when they found him. I got to see a little bit of security footage. The guard had come, John's door was open a crack, and you see the security guard kind of wave, trying to get someone to open the door.
And just like many parts of John's life, the truth about what actually happened to him is unclear. At the end of the day, McAfee's life reads like a tragic lesson. It's not just a story about technology, money, or crime, but about the loneliness that can hide behind brilliance and how the line between genius and madness can become dangerously thin. Because while he spent his life fighting threats on screens, the real battle was happening inside. What he saw as freedom, others saw as a slow unraveling. And maybe that's the quiet tragedy. Sometimes genius destroys itself long before the world ever realizes it.